Hi, I'm Rigger. This is You Alright, and today we're going to continue with our journey of the Avatar. We're going to dive into Book 1, Episode 2. Basically, I'm not going to do my big spiel, we're just going to get into the episode. If you want to know what's going on, check out the first episode. If you're already up to speed, we'll dive into this pretty quickly. Before we do, if you like it, share it with others if you think they'll like it, let me know what you think in the comments below, and subscribe if you want to see more. But let's not waste any time. Jumping right in. Actually, I'll put on the brakes for just 1 second because I wanted to quickly address something I saw in the comments. People asked, how often is this going to come out? Because if you do one a week, it's going to take quite a while because there are a lot of episodes. Now, I'll address that as real as I can. For now, it's one a week, and I know that that's slow, but hear me out. The way that my channel works, a lot of the time I'm writing my episodes week to week or reviewing things day to day. So, I make a lot of my episodes the day before they come out. That's really hard to maintain, and if you don't post anything for a while, YouTube will bury your channel. So what I wanted to do with series like this is make sure I have consistent content that does come out. So for the moment, it's once a week. That really helps me, and if I can record ahead a bit, I can feel secure. I can be like, alright, for the next X weeks, 3-4 weeks, I have something to come out each week, and then I can focus on the other things that take more time and take more writing time, and, like theories and things that take a lot of thinking and rewriting, whereas reviews like this are just faster to make in general. If by any chance, and that's not going to happen right now because it's sort of holidays time and everyone's busy, including myself, if I get significantly ahead, if I got 10 episodes ahead or something, which I don't think I will for the time being, but if I did, I might consider putting it to 2 a week. If I got far enough ahead where putting 2 a week wouldn't mean that I can run out of episodes very quickly, then that's what I'd do. I did the first one just on its own because I needed to get one done because I didn't have anything coming out and I was about to go away for a small trip to pick up my dog and a few other things. So I did, and also an experiment to see how it went. So the first one was just on its own. Today, as I'm recording this, I'm hoping to do maybe 2, but we'll see. But either way, I'm going to make this one. But anyway, I just wanted to address that question. So for now, it's 1 a week. I'm sorry that that's slow. I hope you understand as to why. If it moves to 2 a week, it means I've gotten ahead, and that'll be pretty obvious. So anyway, that's to address that. Now we'll actually get into the episode. Let's do it. Okay, so there's a few things I want to talk about with this episode, but first up I'll say I really enjoyed this one. I know people were saying that it's rough at the start, especially, and every show kind of is. It always takes time for people to find their feet, including actors and so forth. I think this episode does struggle with tone a little bit, because there are jokes sort of where there shouldn't be, and there's some editing that isn't great, but in general, I really like that parts of the tone we're diving into. I like that, initially when we came back to the village to start, Sokka's out there going, he's a spy, he signaled the Fire Nation, he's obviously a bad guy, and I was thinking, this is going to be annoying, this is just going to be his character, he's just going to keep talking about this thing we obviously know isn't true, but then he brings up, I'm doing this because, for father, I'm trying to protect the village, and I like that we're actually delving into, despite his jokey side, and despite his somewhat, not useless, but his lack of effectiveness in combat, and how good he is at these things, he has a real base in emotion and something real, that he does feel this responsibility, that he's trying his best. And this episode really had me take a big step towards really liking Sokka as a character. And I got more respect for Aang as well. There were big steps in this episode. Obviously, there were things coming that I was expecting, I knew they'd end up on the ship this episode, but I really liked how it was handled. It was handled differently than I thought. What else? I really liked that, we're immediately going, would you pick this over your family? Where do your loyalties lie? And this is not just jokey kid stuff, this is life decisions and responsibilities and promises made to parents who aren't around and people who need protecting. It's actually a quite mature step, despite some of the weird jokes around it. So I wanted to get that out off the bat, that I really enjoyed most of the way this is written. So anyway, I'll jump forward a little bit. I'm gonna stop here real quick because I wanted to talk about design, because it's gonna come up a few times. I'm gonna mention it more than once in this little review because we saw more designs than before. I'm a big fan of a lot of the designs here, and it's something, it's hard to express. I like that they're relatively simple because it helps with the animation and everything else, but, they're pretty clear, they're pretty defined, which is what you want in sort of all cartooning. You want, silhouettes and stuff that and people you can always pick out who's who, and people have, solid colored bases and all that kind of thing. I have never been too wrapped in Aang's design. The arrows I still find a bit kind of weird. I mean, I've seen them forever because watch the show or not, it's all over pop culture and all that. So I've seen that forever, but I don't love it, but I really like Katara's design. The braids are silly and don't make any sense in real life, but when they did the dramatic shot there of them blowing over her face and her eyes, it looked really great, and they'll do something similar later with Gran, and then we'll see some of the more Fire Nation designs too. And I want to applaud the design on these characters. It really helps add to the feel of the show, and it's something I didn't comment on to start, so I thought I'd say that. I think the weakest design is Aang, and I know that it's, you get the Avatar state stuff where he lights up, and yes, I know what that's called, because, again, pop culture, but, I guess it's a good visual for that, but in general, I'm not a huge fan of it, but everyone else, I think, looks pretty great, so, yeah. Anyway, moving on with story. Maybe I should have waited to talk about design since the next scene was something I really wanted to talk about. I will add on quickly, just after the last section, is when I was talking about decisions and family and how much Sokka really was trying to do his best for the people. You also then see Katara's real want to be a waterbender and seeing Aang as her chance and throwing that in Gregor's face, like, that was my one chance. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, you can see the ambition there, you can see the want, and it's not even childlike. I was gonna say it's a little childish. It's not really. It's like, here's a gift I have, and I don't even have a way to learn to use it. And you see your opportunity in front of you, and it gets potentially taken away. That's a pretty serious sort of emotion to deal with. But moving on to designs again, because again we have here, I love the face paint. I love this design. This is sick. And I really like the decision to do the side-by-side suiting up, where you have Sokka doing his suiting up and Zuko doing his, and you have one that's more sort of tribal-y and one that's more, with helpers putting on your armor and that sort of thing. It's pretty cool. Except the helmet loses me here. Sorry, can't do it. The helmet's a bit too much. The helmets on all the Fire Nation, the skull flamey ones, it's a bit too much. It reminds me of the sketch, are we the baddies? We've got skulls on us, like, whatever. But yeah, other than that though, the designs are really sick. The face paint's awesome. So yeah, keep going. So this is what I meant when I say that I got big leaps towards loving Sokka as a character. Despite his comedy beats and despite the fact that this gets turned into a joke, if you want to win points with me, even if it's stupid, you be the scared, useless quote-unquote one, and you stand there and you stand your ground against something ridiculous coming at you. It's very much, I'm going to relate this to other things I talk about, I guess. It's very much like, what they want to do a lot of the time with Jean, right? Like, you're the scaredy guy, you're not the strongest, but, when the challenge is there, when the threat is there, you stand your ground. Now, yeah, it's dumb, he couldn't fight a ship, and it's kind of silly when you think about it, and he gets turned into a joke, and he gets dealt with like a joke, but it still does a lot to be like, here's this kid who wants to protect everyone. He's bad at it. He doesn't know what he's doing, but there's a threat, and he didn't back down, and he tries this fight. So, win or lose, you win points immediately. And then I'll tack on here quickly another note about design. Again, I love the design of the ship. I love using the icebreaker front to then drop down as a landing ship. Reminds me of a D-Day ship with the the metal ramp landers on the beach. So cool. Just cool design, cool use of the shapes and silhouettes and what you can do, especially in a cartoon world where those sort of things may not be possible in the real life, depending on physics and whatever. But here, go ahead, it's awesome. Alright, so we got our first little taste of combat, and yeah, it was comedic, it was Sokka just getting kicked around basically, but again, you get points for the attempt. I love the way Zuko professionally dealt with the spear, just snapping it into pieces and, showing how useless it really is. And you don't win points with me just because I'm Australian that you got in this obvious boomerang joke. But I do like that now technically Sokka has landed a decent hit on Zuko, whether it's for comedy or not. Like that's a fun little win for his character. For the comedy character and the serious character, he actually landed like a proper hit. So yeah, good for him. Again, the helmets, yeah, too much. But they balanced their tone a little bit better with Gran, because I really thought they were going to threaten her, and the music played that they were going to threaten her, but it was just using her as an example of age, which I guess is like a cartoon get out of jail free card, because it really looked like they should have been threatening her. But okay, fair enough. Although his comedy sell of the thing to the back of the head is a bit much. Again, I still don't like that the music stings comedically. Like the music goes, like it's like I don't need that, but maybe it'll grow on me, or maybe they'll grow out of it. I don't know. But it's still one thing I don't like about the way they execute their jokes. But anyway, moving on. Okay, the next section. I really want to talk about, again, winning big points with me, especially Sokka. He's doing it in droves. I love the beats of how Katara is, again, she has that personality trait I talked about in the first episode, where it's, you have to help, have to do the right thing, that kind of person. Yeah, assuming that he doesn't like Aang, he's not going to want to help, and he just cuts her off and goes, "You're going to get in the boat or what?" Like, that's great. Fantastic. Winning huge points as a character with me. And also, I really, it sounds dumb, because I don't really know these characters yet. It actually touched me a little bit, for 2 beats in a row here, where she runs up and gives him the hug. Like, there's the actors really nailed, I think it was in the giggle or the laugh of how much Katara was happy about what Sokka had done. But the giggle run up and the hug real quick, like the sibling love was really nice. And then moments later, Gran shows up and says, "Hey, you'll need these." Like, she's not going to stop them. Aang is their only hope, and she calls Katara her little waterbender and him the brave warrior, and that was really nice too. So 2 touching little family moments that I think they executed pretty well, especially for early on in the show when I'm not super connected to these characters just yet. I felt it, so good job. What else? I like that we then get the upper callback of like, yeah, we can't do it in a canoe. But hey, Appa is supposed to be able to fly, so that's pretty cool. And for the sake of time, I'm going to stay on this screenshot but talk about it anyway. I like that Sokka gets Appa to fly. That's really cool. That the one who was so skeptical, and he actually did it. And then again, through that whole scene, I really think that Katara and Sokka's actors are really nailing the sibling thing. And I really appreciate it, because it's a hard thing to pull off. Because a lot of the time you can do your own emotions, just, with practice if you're an actor. And then there's like, you need to do practice things like romance and strong anger, but sibling love and like that sort of casual, you have to feel like you've known each other your whole lives, and you have to sort of have those little bonds and moments and little inflections of the people that you just assume people who know you will get. And I'm not saying they do it perfectly or anything, but it is there, so they're nailing that, and I really appreciate it. So great work there, and we'll move ahead. Oh, actually no, before we move ahead, more winning big points with me I want to also mention is Aang, because he did come back, and he's giving himself up to save the village. Hero move points, so yeah. If I'm gonna give those points to Sokka, I have to give them to Aang as well. Still not my favorite character, but I enjoyed him this episode a lot more, and we'll get to that in just a second. Real quick, I want to say on this escape is that this is where Aang also won big points with me, is that he wasn't a useless kid. He immediately sprang to action. He was never going to just go with them. He had an escape plan. Well, I know about plan. He planned to escape immediately, and he started showing off just what airbending can do, and I've complimented before the casual use of airbending. I like it in his everyday movements. But here, you start seeing just how powerful it is, and just what he can do with it, and I really, really like that. And then, I'll add on here that I really like Zuko springing this trap on him, as if he expected it, or, he had to consider it. He still has, I don't know about respect, he still has wariness of how strong the Avatar is, at least in his mind, and he's still definitely a threat. So, he assumed that if he was going to go for his staff, that, best to be prepared for it. And he completely laid this trap, and it almost worked. So, I like that Zuko, again, despite being hard-headed and determined, is not an idiot, and that's always nice to see. Okay, yeah, here's what I wanted to talk about, is one of the things that really has helped me get into this combat is something that, any good combat does, but a lot of them don't, in a lot of shows or anything, is use of the environment. Now, obviously, when you're talking about Avatar, you're thinking the elements or the environment, but no, I mean, of course, the environment around them, the physical objects. So, earlier, I mentioned that I didn't like the helmets, but I immediately gave it more of a pass when I saw Aang use it to cut his bonds. You're gonna have something that stands out like that in a scene? I'm glad someone uses it. It's not just, not there. It's physically in the world and people can use it. And the same thing here, where in the fight he uses the wall banner to try and tie up Zuko for a sec. It doesn't work, but that's, it's actually better when things like that don't work. You want to see people using the environment, using things that they think of on the fly, using the things around them, and it doesn't always work, but sometimes it does. And I won't show it, I won't do another screen for it, but you see the episode, you know how this ends. where he uses the mattress to slam him around the room. Again, inventive use of the environment. It's really good, and that really helps with the combat. It's not just how smooth it is, it's just that it feels real. You're in the world. The things around you matter. Although I will say, again, it's hard to show in my presentation style, but if you watch the episode, you'll see it. The editing is not great. There's a shot where Zuko fires a flame blast at Aang's face, and he goes, and then it cuts to the other side, and it's like moved back, and he reacts again, and then it cuts again, and he moves and dodges it. It's just really badly cut. There's 2 times, I think, in this episode where they do slow-mo. One where Aang realizes the people behind him are in danger, and there's one a little bit later, and neither of them are good. I find slow-mo in animation, it's not fair. A lot of animes I've seen do it really well, but it's something they must have done for a long time, because a lot of other shows, again, Ruby does it, and this show's done it, and there are definitely others that are just not coming to mind, but a lot of, at least Western cartoon shows, or in 3D or cartoon, doesn't make a difference, animated shows really struggle using their slow-mo effectively. It's not that it always looks bad, like it's timed wrong, although sometimes that is a big problem, but it's just they use it at the wrong time, or they use it too long, or whatever. I can think of like 2 good slow-mos in all of Ruby, and they've used it a bunch. I can think of 2 that are decent. And here, again, didn't work very well. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say that I thought was funny, though, the thing where Aang makes a ball and flies around on it, all I can think is Yoshimitsu from Tekken when he did the move where you could hop around on your sword. Just reminds me of that. But yeah, I love the mobility of airbending, and we see that through this fight. Anyway, we'll move on because there's a little bit more to cover. What I was going to say was that this whole end sequence here, this whole fight, after he got out of Zuko's room and went to flee, was a nice surprise because, again, my only frame of reference for the actual show is the movie, and obviously the movie's heavily condensed and whatever else, but I expected him to just get away. So Zuko catching his leg, pulling him down to the deck, continuing a fight, and we get this extra Avatar state stuff, introducing that again. That was cool. I wasn't really expecting it, so I appreciated that. And the only thing that's a worry is I hope that this Avatar state thing isn't just a get out of jail free card every time they get in big trouble. Like every time he's down, just Avatar state activates and they win. I hope it doesn't just become that. Obviously, giving main characters and stuff little special abilities like that, things that, basically Deus Ex Machinas that'll just pop up and save everyone, is common, but I'm hoping it's not the only role it plays constantly. I'm hoping that there are people that can still better him in that state, or he has to learn things about it. He has to learn to use it on purpose because he's not good enough without it. He can be knocked out or taken out of fights without it just activating every time or something. I don't want every time he's in a scenario that we just wait for him to light up and fix it. So that's a hope. Who knows? This show seems to be relatively well written, so I'm hoping it doesn't just come down to that every time. So we'll see. Don't tell me because I want to find out myself if you can. But yeah, I like this. And again, him using waterbending, and we're introduced to the idea obviously that he has these skills, and I do know about the previous avatars and stuff. Like I get from pop culture and just being on the internet, I get it. So I know they'll explain it, and it doesn't ruin it or anything. I get where it's from, and it's a cool idea. It's a cool way to introduce it. If everyone he clearly didn't know what he did, and obviously you get people like Katara's attention doing waterbending, so it's cool. So I think we'll cover just the ending here. We'll see. Alright, I know this is an odd frame to pick to stop on because there is more past this, but I'm probably just going to use this one because I have a few things I want to talk about. First off, I really like if you want to use a joke and make it part of the show, this is how you do it. You have Katara try and waterbend, freeze them, and screws it up, immediately freezing Sokka, and then you then have her realize her mistake and just turn around and repeat the mistake backwards so that she does what she wants to the guards. That's great. That's thinking on the fly, that's making a joke, and it's making the joke part of the show. So that's really cool. And then what else? I really liked Zuko, and I haven't mentioned his name in the show yet. I like them trying to, Kamehameha fire blast them out of the sky together. That was cool, doing them in sync. And then another terrible slow-mo where Aang redirects the flame. The slow-mo of his face as he whips the air staff, and it's really bad. So again, that can't help it. I mean, you can't help it, but it's already been done long ago. Bad use of slow-mo. I hope they get better at it. I really couldn't help think that if this was a more adult-themed show, that if I was Zuko I would just, like... And I guess there's no telecommunication, so you wouldn't get the message to them, but, like, I know they want to follow him, and I guess you don't want him to get away. That's a good hook to get them away, but I can't help but think you'd go back or send people to just go and destroy their village to get him back. Like, hey, come back or I'll kill Gran, or something like that. I guess it works that he's hot-headed and he just wants to immediately follow. I don't know exactly how it'd shake out the other way, but I can't help but thinking if you were a dedicated, evil guy with ruthless... whatever. Just be like, hey, I know where you live, I'm going back there. That would be bad. So, at least, well, I guess we're not doing that, which is a positive, because the show would be a much darker one if we did. And then, we're introducing at the end the whole he doesn't want to be the Avatar thing. Again, I know beats of that, like how he has to give up, and how hard it will be, and what it means for him, and the responsibility, and all that, yeah. But we're introducing that, which is cool. It'll be something they have to go into, obviously. And then, yeah, the plan of, alright, let's go learn waterbending, and Aang and Katara can learn together. And then we get a little insight into Aang's childish nature again, where he wants to go ride the different animals around the world, which plays back to the penguin riding, so that's actually, again, making something of a joke that it's bigger than just a one episode, one line, one scene kind of thing. So that's good. If you're going to do those sort of things, at least have them carry over so they become part of the show. So that's pretty cool. I will say, it's I don't know why my headspace was here, but I thought there was a very adult joke coming till the last millisecond, where Katara turns back to Sokka and says, "And Sokka, I'm sure you'll be able to knock some Fire Nation heads along the way." And for some reason, my brain auto-filled in, "And Sokka, I'm sure you'll be able to knock boots along the way." I'm like, whoa, that's not where I expected the kids' show to go, and why is your sister promising you that along the way? Like, what? Yeah, you're gonna find girls along the way, mate. We'll totally get in there. That's, for some reason, that joke jumped to my head, and I don't know why. But anyway, moving on. We'll do final thoughts. What do I think of this episode? Well, I think that where I was impressed with the first episode, I was really won over by this one. I'm hoping this is an episode people consider bad, because if this is bad, I can't wait to see a good one, because this really helped me get way more invested in Sokka, who was a character I didn't hate, but I wasn't thrilled about in the first episode. And then also, it gave me big points towards liking Aang. He's still my least favorite of the bunch, but I like the use of airbending, I liked his selflessness, I liked his taking action on his own. He wasn't waiting to be rescued, he was planning to get out anyway. I like the repeated callback joke to now Sokka has 2 hits on Zuko. He has the boomerang to the back of the head, and he bonked him on the skull to knock him off the edge of the boat again. The repeat of what he did to him at the village. That's cool. You have me way more invested in giving way more sort of points to some of these characters. You don't have to win me over on Katara. I immediately like Katara, and I've only continued to like Katara. She's great, but you won me over on Sokka, you're winning me over on Aang. You're introducing story beats, you've got your Avatar state reintroduced, you've got their plan reintroduced of where they're going, you have the investment from the other characters, you've got out of the village, you have the endorsement of people like Gran, we've covered how they got away, you have Appa flying, so you've got things moving, and I'm impressed how much we covered in one episode. I'm not sure why, I think it might be because I've watched Ruby for so long, but I was expecting things to take a lot longer to get going, but no, we're doing stuff, so it's very nice. In a serialized show like this, it's good to keep people invested. Every episode, things need to happen to keep you there. So, they're doing that. I guess that'll bring us to the end of this episode. So yeah, those are my final thoughts. You know what, I'm not even going to do the YouTube spiel, we'll just keep it at the beginning. You know the deal, this card, bing, there it is. Do the things if you want, let me know your thoughts, because I like to hear about these episodes as we go. If you're one of those people who said you wanted to watch along, tell me definitely your thoughts if it's your first time watching the episodes too. I will see you in the next one, and until next time, remember, if at first you don't succeed, just try it again backwards. I'm Rigger, hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope I did alright.